Alex, I spent 3 hours yesterday trying to find a specific 10 millimeter socket that I am positive has transcended this physical dimension to go live in some parallel universe where all the solo socks go.
Oh, I saw that. You weren't just looking, you were performing a full forensic excavation of your toolbox. I half expected you to find a fossilized sandwich from the 90s.
It wasn't that deep, but it did get me thinking. We spend so much time hunting for the small stuff. Meanwhile, the entire landscape of how we build things and who's paying for it is shifting right under our boots.
Well, that's a heavy start for a Friday morning. But you're right, we're seeing some massive moves today. I'm looking at these numbers from Google and Meta and Tiger. They aren't just playing around with apps anymore. They're dumping serious cash into the dirt and steel world.
It's about time. They finally realized that you can't run a virtual empire on a cloud that doesn't have a physical roof and a massive HVAC system to keep it from melting into a puddle of silicon.
Exactly. We're talking a combined $165 million from the tech giants. Meta's putting up the lion's share, 115, specifically for data center construction academies. They aren't just teaching you how to swing a hammer, they're handing out industry credentials and basically pointing at a job and saying, that's yours if you finish the course.
That is the sound of a guaranteed paycheck. When I started out, the tech world was something that happened in an office with ergonomic chairs. Now, if you're a welder or an electrician, you're basically the life support system for the internet. If the pipe fitters don't get the cooling right, the world stops scrolling. It turns the traditional trade school image on its head. It's not just oily rags anymore, it's precision infrastructure.
And the demand is wild because of AI. Every time someone asks a chatbot to write a poem about their cat, a server somewhere gets hot.
And that heat needs a technician. If I were 20 years younger and looking for a path that didn't involve a mountain of student debt, I'd be sprinting toward those data center academy programs. They're often free. Imagine that, getting paid to learn a skill that literally ensures the lights stay on for the rest of civilization.
Speaking of things that feel like the future, you've been hovering over that new 3D printer like a mother hen. Is that the stuff you were telling me about? The peak filament?
Oh man, this stuff is the real deal. In the past, 3D printing was mostly making plastic trinkets or prototypes that would warp if you left them in a hot car. But peak, polyether ether ketone, if you want to be fancy at dinner parties, is a whole different animal. It's a polymer that thinks it's a titanium alloy.
Is that why the printer smelled like a high-end dentist's office yesterday?
Probably. It needs incredibly high temperatures. You can't just run this on your basic starter machine unless you want to see your nozzle turn into a melted heap. But the prosumer machines, the stuff coming out from All3DP Pro, are making this accessible. NASA uses this stuff. Doctors use it for implants. Now, a guy in a garage can print a bracket for a high-performance engine that won't just hold up, it'll thrive.
While we're on the subject of machines, I see you've been eyeing the Bamboo Lab anniversary sale. Don't think I didn't see that tab open on your laptop.
You caught me. The P1S combo is down to 539 bucks for a machine that swaps colors automatically and actually works when you hit print instead of throwing a tantrum. That's cheaper than some of the table saw blades I've ruined by hitting a hidden nail.
And what about that X1 printer? The all-in-one thing? I'm always skeptical of tools that claim to do everything. Usually they do three things poorly instead of one thing well.
I usually agree. The Swiss Army knife of tools often ends up being a dull blade and a useless corkscrew. But the Pro-Colored X1 is actually solving a real-world headache. It's got a UV printer, a laser, and a sticker maker. But the secret sauce is the ink circulation. White ink is the bane of my existence. It's thick, it settles, and it clogs nozzles like old grease in a drain. This machine actually keeps it moving. For a small shop, doing custom branding or labels, not having to strip down your print head every Monday morning is worth its weight in gold.
Speaking of worth its weight, let's talk business. The maker mogul side of things. I saw the latest marketing data for 2026, and it's a weird mix of the old ways still work and you better keep up.
Let me guess. People are still shouting into the void on Facebook?
Believe it or not, 86% of marketers are still there. But for makers, it's not about the feed anymore. It's the groups and the marketplace. It's the local buy-sell where Mrs. Higgins finds your custom cutting boards. But if you want the big fish, you have to move to the triple threat strategy.
Sounds like a wrestling move.
Close. It's Facebook for the locals, Instagram for the eye candy process reels, and here's the one most makers skip, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn? I thought that was just for people in suits to talk about synergy and circling back.
It is. But you know who has money for expensive custom boardroom tables? People in suits. If you're a maker and you aren't showing your work to interior designers and office architects on LinkedIn, you're leaving the big wood contracts on the table.
That's a sharp point. I've always treated my social media like an online scrapbook. But if you treat it like a storefront where different doors lead to different customers, the math starts to change. I'd much rather sell one $5,000 conference table than $510 coasters. My back isn't what it used to be.
Well, before you retire your back entirely, we've got some DIY mastery to talk about. I saw you looking at those wooden drawer slides from Osborne Insider. Are we really going back to the 18th century?
There's something incredibly satisfying about a drawer that moves like silk but has zero ball bearings, no clunky metal rails, no greasy tracks. It's just wood on wood. It's a bit of an ego trip, honestly. It says, I measured this so accurately that I don't need hardware to fix my mistakes,
And it saves $20 a drawer.
which adds up when you're building a dresser. But it's more than the money. It's the sound. A wooden slide has this whoosh that sounds like quality. It's the same vibe as that shed the Maker channel just finished with the reclaimed metal roof.
Oh, I love that project. It looked like it had been sitting there for 50 years, but it was rock solid.
Reclaimed metal is a gift. It's already been stress tested by 20 winners. I once built a woodshed using old roofing tin I found behind a barn. My neighbor told me it'd leak like a sieve. 10 years later, his fancy shingles are curling and my rusty tin is still bone dry. There's a lesson there about using what's available instead of what's expensive.
Speaking of expensive, did you see that YouTube tour of the $3.5 million Austin home? I know you usually hate those mansion tours.
I do, mostly because they usually have more marble than taste, but I watched this one for the trim. The way they used shadow gaps and integrated lighting. You don't need a $3 million budget to steal an idea for a recessed LED strip in a hallway. I'm a big believer in scanning the high end to build the low end. You look at what the architects are doing with massive budgets, then you figure out how to do it with a router bit and a Saturday afternoon.
A total heist of architectural concepts. I like it.
Look, at the end of the day, whether you're printing aerospace grade polymers or just trying to make a drawer slide that doesn't stick, the goal is the same. We're just trying to be a little more capable than we were yesterday.
And maybe finding that 10mm socket?
Let's not talk about the socket. It's gone. It's with the gods now. But look, if you're listening to this, here's my challenge. Don't just consume the news. Take one of these things, whether it's looking into a trades program, trying a new material, or just cleaning up your LinkedIn and actually move the needle.
Well said. So what's the big Saturday plan, Tiger? Building a rocket out of PEEK?
No, I think I'm going to go look at that reclaimed tin. Again, there's a garden gate that's been looking a little too new lately.
Spoken like a true maker. Thanks for joining us in the Tiger Den today. Go build something worth talking about.